Hey guys, thanks for joining in. I think the next step to your journey in arm wrestling, once you've found a team to practice with, is to really dig into the idea of understanding what to expect at practice and having the right mentality when you go to your first practice. So I think the biggest thing that we want to think about is safety over everything. Your first practice doesn't necessarily have to be a point in which you gauge yourself against other arm wrestlers. It really should be an experience where you're not only learning, but learning how to pull safe. So I think rule number one is don't go to practice to try and win. Obviously, there is a point in practicing and developing your craft where you actually want to have mock matches. I don't think that your first practice is that platform for mock matches. I think you just kind of want to go and learn how to set up at the most basic level and to avoid injury. I would hope that every group out there that's arm wrestling and is bringing in new pullers is very, very sensitive to the new puller's safety. Teaching them to obviously keep your eyes on your hand. Anatomically, keeping the eyes following the hand is keeping you out of that side pressure and torsion position where you could actually have an arm break. So safety over everything. The best way to be safe is to not redline yourself at your first practice. Treat it as a learning experience. Gain as much as you can from the technical aspect and the basics of learning the sport. And those of you out there who are getting new arm wrestlers or brand new arm wrestlers, definitely be patient with them. I think a lot of folks do come in and they want a red line and they want to gauge themselves and actually try and win matches in their first practice. I think that that's absolutely the worst thing that you can possibly do early on. There's a lot that you have to learn, and then there's a lot of tendon density and strength that you're going to need to develop before you're ready to actually compete without having major concerns of injury. So the big points are: don't go to practice to win, especially at your first practice. Treat it as a learning experience, treat it as a training experience, and make sure that you stay in good positions. Always watch your hand. And the next step really is the movements to avoid. Any type of side pressure driving hard early on can be dangerous. Arm wrestlers call the sport pulling for a reason. We want to bring our opponent towards us. That is by far a more safe and trustable vector than actually trying to push sideways. There is pushing involved in this sport, but I think that that's something that you want to kind of avoid early on. Focus on back pressure rather than any type of shoulder roll or pressing. That's definitely something that comes down the line and something you want to avoid just for safety purposes. As long as you have the right mentality, I think your first practice experience, especially with the right group, is going to be a good one.